you go to Atlanta under a Democrat in this district, and you want to maintain being a conservative, okay? Mm-hmm. You want to maintain being a conservative, having conservative values, and keep this area as rural, right, to enjoy why we moved here. The Atlanta Democrat Caucus.
I know where you're going.
When you say, because I will say this, not to put words in your mouth, you have said things to me today that I'm scratching my head and say, okay, I want to see you go to Atlanta, and when this Democrat caucus puts this proposal up, because I've read their proposals and I've read their legislation, and you say, I can't, back home, my people back home, Republican, Democrat, they're ringing the phone. I can't vote for that.
Yep.
Now, see, if you're a Republican, that's a different story. I am still. Would you hold to what's best for this district?
Yes.
Regardless of what the caucus said.
Unqualified, yes.
Okay.
Actually, I believe it was right here, the very first Quad Counties meeting I attended, in this pavilion. I said to the crowd, because of the way I'm approaching this, because of my principles and my beliefs, I am probably not going to be very popular among the General Assembly, my colleagues, but the people back home are going to love me. I don't try to claim to be incredibly altruistic, but we're all familiar with the film Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. In my case, it's Mr. St. Lawrence Goes to Atlanta. And if this is one of the term limits issues that I support. As you've seen, I have a very specific agenda of issues I want to address and solve. If I can't hit 50% of them in the first term, I will reevaluate whether I'll do a second.
You said 6 years is your max.
6 years is my max. I'm 63 right now. I will not be out campaigning when I'm 70. My wife and I have worked all our lives. We want to retire. I will do no more, and I will sign a blood oath if somebody needs me to on this. I will not do more than 6 years, and I have no aspirations to go to D.C. And to put a cherry on that sundae, I would rather be ejected from the body than capitulate.
All right, so, and the reason I ask that is, I don't want to be a broken record in the district we're in, but the reason I ask that is for me as a voter, because I vote in this district, I see John Fetterman. And there's a lot of Democrats that are angry with John Fetterman because he says, look, if the Republicans put up a policy, and I think it's common sense, I'm going to vote yes. Or if the Democrats, go this way, I'm not going to support it. So I use him as one of the examples,
My take on John Fetterman is that's what he says. It's not what he does.
I got that. I'm just trying to say, he will be open to looking at, Republican
Absolutely.
things.
Yeah, I cannot go with the intent of stonewalling. But if a bill comes to me where the give is far greater than the take, I can't.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to look in the eye. I watched the tote board. I'm very boring when they're in session. I actually watch it, and I watch the tote board. And I can almost hear the guy say, lock the board, lock the board, okay? And I see the greens and the reds. And I see, regardless what it is, I'll see R's and D's. The day you go down there and you show up green under one of those Republican votes, it's not going to be a good day for you.
I put a target on my back. I realize that. But I'm not doing this to advance my career.
All right.
If
so,
I'm elected, this will be my 4th career. I'm not doing this because I have greater aspirations. I'm doing this because I see a serious, specific set of problems that I can do something about.
all right. So there is a lot of party identifying happening right now. A lot of party identifying. And this area here, and I keep going back to it because it's where we're sitting, it's where you're asking for the vote. They're concerned about Democrat Socialists of America. And I've read this. I hope, if anything, today you pick up when I sit down and I'm going to talk about something, I read it and study it. So, all right, I have read and watched the videos directly from the website. Democrat Socialists of America have 6 chapters in Georgia.
And I'm not a member of either of them.
I didn't say it, but they have 6 chapters in Georgia. All right, they have 8 chapters in Michigan. Okay, Abdul El Sayed. Abdul El Sayed. No disrespect to him, but I have to practice that. He did not say he was a member, and he does not show up as a member, but they sent an army of volunteers to work for him, and they did. It's a fact. Same thing, Mondani is publicly, and a list went.
Yep.
You have a current colleague that I sat down with a couple weeks ago that I do like. We had a great conversation. But the reality is she flew to Queens and knocked on doors from Mondani. She went to Michigan and campaigned for Abdul. She will not push back against the Democrat Socialists of America. She will not. She is running for the 7th district. You would be a colleague, a 7th district of the Senate. Her name's Rua Roman. Again, I would sit down with her tomorrow and have a conversation. We had an hour-and-a-half respectful conversation. Do you push back on that? Where do you stand? Because if somebody asks me, I don't know if you know this. You know I'm a Reagan Republican. Are you aware of that? Okay,
as I said, I initially was too.
But I am. I'm a Reagan Republican. Yeah. But I can have the conversation. I think we have issues that are not political party that we should have the conversation.
Not everything needs to be a partisan discussion.
So we didn't do that today.
Right.
And I don't do that with anybody I sit down with. But the reality of what's going on, is the Democrat Party right now, socialist, communist. I've studied socialism and communism. I don't want to go down those roads right now.
It drives me nuts when people conflate the two.
Where do you stand as far as, because you're on the Democrat ticket?
I am on the Democrat ticket.
And am I the first person that's ever asked you that?
Actually, yeah.
I've
been blanket accused
I didn't
that
accuse
because
you.
I'm
Right.
a Democrat, I must be.
That is why I'm asking the question. I wouldn't go out of here and accuse you. In fact, I'm glad to hear maybe I'm the first one asking you that question, because you said you've been accused, and they don't even know you.
Exactly. Two answers to that situation. I have what I call the 5-minute challenge. And I've been doing this for, 15 months now. All I ask of any voter that opposes me for whatever reason, sit down and talk to me for 5 minutes. I will let you choose the subject as long as it is a local, county, or state issue. Don't sit down and talk to me about national immigration or all of the federal identity politics. And you talk to me about a local issue that I can do something about, talk to me for 5 minutes. If you don't walk away from that conversation without at least seeing, this guy really understands the problem, and he isn't that stereotype baby-eating, demon-worshipping socialist Democrat. I work on issue by issue by issue. If I get to Atlanta and there's a Republican that wants to work with me, and we see eye to eye on things, and I can convince him of some of my points, and he can convince me some of his. That is partisanship, and I support that. But I will never go along with a bill just because it's party popular. I don't belong to any ideology except my own. And my own is give everyone a fair shake, a fair opportunity, and stop trying to shoehorn everything into a partisan box. Because almost all of these county and state issues are not partisan issues. They're people issues. And if you're just going to either support or oppose any subject just because the right or the left supposes or supports it, I'm sorry, you're not appreciating the gravity of the situation. You're not involving yourself.
You know, I have